Thank you, Deputy Presiding Officer. It's commonplace in a members' debate to congratulate the relevant backbencher on securing chamber time, often on issues pertinent to their constituency or a health campaign or something similar. On this occasion, I struggle to do so. A motion signed only by the SNP and one Green MSP tells us everything. I only have 4 minutes of time, so I will be concise. In amongst all the hyperbole we've just heard, I want to address 3 specific issues mentioned in the motion. Section 35 is intrinsic to the Scotland Act. It is part and parcel of the devolution settlement. You can't complain that devolution is under threat when the section at issue was explicitly included by Donald Dewar and the founders of devolution in the Scotland Act itself. And its use in January was justified. Whatever your views on the substance of the GRR Bill, there is a powerful argument that it poses adverse consequences for UK-wide equalities policy, a fact the SNP government were warned about during the passage of the bill. And instead of working with the UK government to resolve this amicably, the Scottish government is heading for the courts. Secondly, on levelling up, I have made this point before, but I reiterate it. At no point did the SNP ever complain about the EU injecting funds into local communities in the decades when we were members of the EU. But now that the UK government is doing the same, they are appalled. The SNP knows fine well that the devolution settlement allows direct investment from the UK government to devolve policy areas. That's replicated across the world in federal or quasi-federal systems. Look at Australia, look at Canada, look at Germany. Far from undermining devolution, that is strengthening it. Thirdly, on Sewell, I have no doubt that Sewell is under strain and needs rethinking. But on the point of collapse, we pass LCMs regularly in this Parliament without a division. We did so only last week or the week before. The Scottish Government has itself consented to a raft of post-Brexit legislation passed by the UK Government about fisheries and animal welfare, for instance. Do we still pass legislation week after week, year after year, on Scotland-only matters? Of course we do. But let none of that get in the way of the predictable SNP hysteria about a constitutional crisis and loose talk about a full frontal attack and a scorched earth policy when it comes to devolution. Because, Deputy Presiding Officer, this is all they have left. The sound you hear is the noise of empty, empty rhetoric, the resounding gong and clanging cymbal of nationalist grievance. And does any of that help the people of Scotland? Does any of that help the person waiting at a pier on Mull for a ferry that doesn't arrive? Does that help the teenager waiting months on end for a mental health appointment that doesn't happen? Not one bit. Deputy Presiding Officer, if the SNP wants to use members' debate time to drag up old grievances or put a spin on new ones, they can do so. But voters are watching and wondering. They know this is a tired, directionless government that has no new ideas, even with the new First Minister. They know that the SNP, first elected in 2007, with so much promise, so much hope, has let them down these last 16 years. They know that this government, which controls the most powerful devolved legislature in the world, is not making full use of the powers it already has. They know that if the SNP, just for once, concentrated on what matters to people in their everyday lives, how much could improve, how much could be achieved. And as a result, they know that when the question is asked, why is devolution failing, the answer is to be found sitting on the benches to my right.